are going to be servicing and possibly changing brake pads on a Kawasaki GTR1400. No, it's alright, carry on. First job, loosen up the pins that hold the brake pads on with your hex bolt. And we literally just loosen those. Then the retaining bolts that actually hold the caliper onto the bike. Two of those. So you've loosened the two pins that hold the brake pads in, and now the two bolts that hold the caliper on. We're going to go ahead and remove the caliper, which will give us our first look at what condition the brake pads are in. Oh. As you can see, she's a bit dirty. I haven't actually put any gloves on yet. Two bolts. We're just quickly going to put our gloves on because we are going to get dirty. And as soon as we take this caliper off, assuming it will come straight off, we get to inspect the brake pads. As you can see, not too badly worn, but they are worn. I probably will change them, and the pistons need a good clean as well. So now go ahead and withdraw the brake pad pin. And you is stuck. There we go. One pin. Then you get your brake pad retaining clip, spring, and finally one half of your brake pads. As you can see, they're not too bad. I think we are going to change them out. Not too bad. Now the GTR does have 4 pads in each side. Pin, another clip, and finally our brake pads. Very worn. Still a bit of life on them, but we're heading into winter, which is why I want to give them a clean, and we'll probably swap them out. Now, as for the pistons themselves, you can see they're quite mucky. Just give it a bit of front brake. Now comes the fun bit. You need, I've got it with me, yep, wire brush and a pair of plier piston turners. These are really good to get in and turn your pistons so you can clean all the way around them. Right, I'm going to get on to do that then. Cleaned up very well. See if we just push that one back out of the way, like that, and do the same for the other three. Time consuming, but very well worth it in the end. Downside of wearing rubber gloves, you usually make a hole in one. Does take time. Interesting. why am I doing this myself, I ask, here you ask? One, because I know it's done properly, and two, it's cost. There are places, I mean the brake pads alone, Kawasaki original parts, are £50 for 4, which does one side. You can get EVC 88 sintered brake pads which do just as well, which are cheaper. But there you go, so there's, say, Kawasaki original parts, £100 for a set to do the front. And then once you've got that, then you're looking at labour to fit. And garage will probably charge about 2 hours labour for this. All you're doing is you're getting all the old brake dust, road grime, filth, etc. off. So yeah, a garage will probably charge you £250 to change your brake pads. You can do it yourself for £100 in a bit of time. So that's the caliper done now. We're all set. But what we need to do now is our brake pins, our bolts and our springs, 2 of each side. We're going to go to give them a clean on the whirling machine. We'll be back in a minute.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, we're back, and we have some nice clean springs, clean bolts and pins. We have our copperies. We also have original parts, brake pads. We are going to replace them. Going to do a comparison, a new pad to an old pad. Right. Now these pads have been on the bike for about a year, nearly 20,000 miles. I'm not a heavy breaker, as you can see, but they would probably actually last a bit longer. But while we're here, we might as well change them out. Absolutely identical, which is all good. Now, I do this slightly different. I don't put the brake pads in first. What I like to do, don't forget, when you're putting your bolts back in, tiny dab of copperies on the end of it will stop it from seizing up in future. Again, tiny dab of copperies on the thread. go. Right. Now, grab your two brake pads. We'll start at the bottom. Slide one in. There we go. Brake pads in. Our little spring clips, which only go in one way. Then your little brake pin bolt. Doing this on the wrong side. A bit easier from this side. Okay. There we go. Tiny bit of copperies on the bolt. And we're in. Same again for the top one. I think the pistons are just in the way. Just retract those pistons just a little bit. And in we go. You appear to be in the way. It wasn't last time I did this. There you go. Brake pads in. It's got to go that way. There we go. Pin. Through the first brake pad. Missed the spring. Come on. There we go. A bit of copperies on our bolt. Triumph riders love that bit of copperies. That way, when you come to take it apart in the future, you shouldn't break anything. So that's one side done. the other side is exactly the same, and as we change the brake pads on this side, we'll change the brake pads on the other side. And as always, give the brake lever a couple of pulls to pull the pistons through until you feel it go tight, and get your bit of tissue and just wipe off any excess copperies, and that's it. That's changing, cleaning and changing front brake pads on a Kawasaki GTR, or as it's called in America, the Concours 1400. Okay, thank you all for watching, especially if you watched to the end. Like and subscribe to the channel, and rubber side down, shine side up. Talk to you all soon. Bye for now.